Hi everyone, Vicky Verley here. We are going to take a look at the chart for the new moon eclipse, which is occurring on September 13th, 2015, 2:41 a.m. Eastern Time, so I'm sure in some places it may be on September 12th. There's a lot in this chart. Boy, I opened this thing up and it was just like boom, boom, boom. I hope we can get it all in a half hour. Well, let's start with the eclipse point. It's at 20 Virgo, 10 degrees, or 10 minutes, 2010. I didn't look at anything. I didn't look anything up, but I wonder if it's, 2010. Think about that as the year. I think everybody should take a look at the year 2010 and see what was going on. There may be some stuff kind of coming back. I mean, maybe not, but it just sort of hit me there when I said 2010. But really, what I want to say first of all is this is ushering in the Virgo energy. This is like kicking it off big time in an eclipse too. And eclipses are always more powerful than your normal new and full moons because their effects last for 6 months or sometimes years. There was this girl that did the fairs, this lady, and that's all she did. She read your whole life by eclipses. She had all the eclipses noted, and she could pull a lot out of that just from the looking at the eclipses and how they all, I don't know the cycles, but they come in groups like this. Like there's times in the past where we've had these same group of eclipses, but I think this one in particular, because Jupiter has moved into Virgo, this is a time of kicking off that Virgo energy. But it's not just let's get Virgo energy. It's the nodes are going to get in there too. See, the nodes are 0 Libra conjunct Lilith, which I want to look at that too, and then we got Venus and Mars together. But back to this Virgo stuff. Once the nodes go in November, it's all going to be all about this axis. Virgo, Pisces, Virgo, Pisces. It's been about Libra, Aries a lot, and I do want to talk a little bit about that Lilith stuff too. So this is, and it is, Jupiter is opposing Neptune at the time of this eclipse in Virgo, Pisces. And the eclipse is opposing Chiron, in Pisces. So there's all this Virgo, Pisces energy going on, and it's going to be going on. Neptune isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Neptune's going to be in Pisces for next year and beyond. So this oppositions are going to be going on. And then we're going to get the nodes in there too, and that's going to be in there too. And then the nodes are going to come through and hit all this stuff. So this is it. This is like the kickoff, and we're getting indoctrinated into the Virgo Pisces energy. As all oppositions, the nodes always are an opposite, and any opposition, it's always, it's the opposite, basically. But in terms of these two, let's look at this energy. Neptune, again, is the dreamy, it's the creative, it's the spiritual person. Sometimes it can be the mentally ill or the drug-addicted person. It's that energy of Pisces. One fish swims upward, one fish swims downward. Upward, we're transcending reality. We're going into creativity and spirituality and the higher realms. The fish swimming downward is where you may be escaping reality. So that the most common way is through drugs and alcohol, but it's also mental illness. It's also lying. The downside of the Neptune Piscean energy is it's a lie. And it's illusions. It's shattering our illusions. That could be a thing. That was a thing I was picking up right away when I looked at this chart. Now Virgo, on the other hand, is so in reality. So in 3D reality. Everything's got to be organized. Everything's got to be just so. We got to be on schedule. We got to get the job done. And again, I love Virgos. I've had many long-term Virgo friends, and I was thinking about it. Really, they were work relationships. Back when I used to bartending at big clubs, you would have to, you can't work the bar by yourself. It's a huge place. You have to work with somebody else. And me and my Virgo partners were always, because we both busted our asses, They worked as hard as I did, and also they didn't steal for the most part, That was another big thing with, you know, splitting tips. A lot of them would steal, but a lot of them would be just standing around smoking cigarettes, and you're doing all the work. You know, that's not cool. But I was always a good team with a Virgo as a working partner, like for bartending and stuff. You know, I had 2 or 3 girls that were longtime friends, and I worked together, and it was just like, okay, I'm working with her, awesome, we're gonna kick ass tonight, you know, and we both would work just as hard and get in there, bust ass, make your money, and get out, you know. No drama, no screwing around, no whining or being lazy. Let's get in there and get her done, and that's totally the Virgo energy, you know, get it done. Get down to business. It's time to get down to business with Virgo energy, you know. It's time to get down to business. It's time to pay attention to our health for everybody, because Virgo rules the 6th house of health in the flat wheel. So it's about, let's get down to business. Let's get into our physical body and the physical world. Let's look into the finances. Let's get organized. These are all the types of things that Virgo rules over. And I feel like, you know, I've been doing these past life readings, and I'm really liking doing them. And again, people are liking them too. But there's a huge bunch of people, myself included, that were born. I don't have the conjunction of the Jupiter-Uranus, but I have Pluto-Uranus in Virgo. But I do have Pluto and Uranus in Virgo. I was born in that time. And pretty much anybody born in the 60s and then on into the early 70s will have that configuration. Mid-60s it was conjunct, you know, it was conjunct. And this came up in somebody's reading, and it really resonated with me, and that was born during that era that had the Jupiter, Pluto, I keep wanting to say Jupiter because Jupiter's in Virgo now, the Pluto-Uranus conjunction in Virgo. But I think it's time, I feel like that generation, my generation, that we came to Earth to, you know, a lot of things, but the thing that I was picking up in the past life thing was about the call from Gaia. You know, we heard the call from Gaia, and we came to heal Mother Earth, you know. And we also came to, you know, change health and that, because this is as we're coming in, like President Obama and Michelle Obama are of that generation as well. You know, she's Get the Healthy Food Initiative with the kids and all that, you know. So it's like, we're going to change the health care, and he got the health care thing initiated, right, in America. So, but how we eat, you know, all this stuff, as we're kind of taking the reins as a generation, you know, all these things are coming up, healthy eating, you know, healthy, you know, all this stuff about health and food and organic, and you know, as I said, I've been an organic gardener before that was even called that. You know, I was doing that way back in the day. You know, I just always knew that that was what I wanted to do, you know, how to do it right. You know, I just knew that. Even though, like, I used to get into arguments with the people. This one lady, as a matter of fact, and she would just use pesticide. I'd be like, oh, I'm out there getting my garden ready, you know. And she'd be like, this was one of my mom's people from her bar. She's like, oh, well, we just spray it down with whatever. Might have been Roundup, but it was something like that. Maybe whatever. We just spray it down with blah, 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 kill it all. And then we plant it. I'm going, well, that can't be good. I used to say, well, if I want to eat poison vegetables, I can get those from the grocery store. And we used to go round and round about this. And she goes, well, it says right on the label that you can plant it, you know, it's safe to plant. And I go, well, it's just because it says it on the label. So we used to go around, and she was of an older generation. And she, like, I was an asshole for being out there weeding everything by hand, getting the beds ready, you know. Why are you doing all that work? All you have to do is spray with poison. But anyway, so this, our generation is kind of, you know, now is the time that all this stuff that we came to Earth to do. I mean, we came to Earth to do lots of things. We have personal relationships and karma and different things, but as a generation, this is what we were called here to do. To get things more back to natural, to really look at Virgo detailed, what is going on with our food, what is going on with, you know, all the stuff that they're doing to the planet, polluting and whatever, and what is going on with global warming, you know. So this is kind of it. And as the nodes move in there to join Jupiter later this year and then the next year, this is when it's really going to, you know, be in full, you know, full power, I guess, or, you know, it's really going to be in full bloom, I want to say. And then thinking about that way, too, like looking at the truth of things, like, You know, that could be Neptune. Oh, yeah, we just spray the stuff, and then the label says it's safe to use. No, you know, no worries. That's the layers of bullshit that we've been told. And Neptune is also the collective unconscious. You know, that this is ingrained in our collective unconscious. You know, and I said something about TV last time. I mean, I do watch TV, but I tape everything and go through the commercials. You know, I totally do watch movies, and I do watch TV. But these commercials is what it is. It's not necessarily the entertainment part of the the TV show. It's the commercials that are crazy, and we are lulled into our subconscious mind when we watch TV. So this is kicking that off in a big way. You know, this is like call to action, wake up call, time to get busy, and all of us born with the Pluto and Uranus and Virgo, hey, this is what we really came here to do. It's time to get on that, you know, and I feel like that's going to be a big thing. This more down-to-earth level for everybody, if you weren't born during that era, it's going to be about love and relationships too, because Venus and Mars are traveling together, and there is this grand trine in fire. We've got Venus-Mars, trine Uranus, trine Pallas. So these are unexpected things too, Venus-Mars. So I always tell people, like when I'm doing readings, if there's going to be some kind of Uranus on the Venus energy or something, I'm like, you can meet somebody unexpectedly if you're unattached, you know. So I always tell them, like, don't go out of the house in your sweatpants and no makeup on. Because that's certainly the day you're going to run, or you're going to meet the dude or the woman or whoever, you know. That's the day you'll run into them. So you know, or unexpected, be on the lookout. Uranus is the computer, internet, stuff like that. But this is going to be an ongoing thing too, and it's in Leo. You could totally have awareness about some old relationship, or even your current one. I feel like, because Saturn too is still at this 29 Scorpio. I think it's the 18th. Saturn's finally going to move into Sag. So this is the 13th. It's 5 days later. So it's just right there, you know. So this is karmic. This is past life stuff too. This is involving your sexuality, so it's more like Venus and Mars, you know, it's more likely going to be your romantic partners. But it's going to show, I think we could have some big, you know, Virgo looking at the details, some big ahas about, you know, how my relationships have gone. Especially if we get stuck in patterns, and I've done this, and lots of people have, you know, if you get stuck in the same pattern, you know, when you keep changing, you know, you keep meeting the same person over and over again. So it's like you're not learning the lesson, number one, but maybe we could have this big aha. But I feel like even more so it might be about our own behavior. You know, not like, oh, I keep picking whatever, you know, the same, whatever, abusers. I keep, you know, people who get into abusive relationships, which is something I wanted to kind of get into about this Lilith node thing, but whatever, it could be just anything. I keep picking the same person over and over again. Oh, and oh, they're such an asshole, and it's all them, blame, blame, blame. I'm the victim. Well, maybe you'll say, oh wow, I could see how I brought that on, or why I chose that person. I mean, I'm not blaming the victim. I'm not saying brought that on like if somebody's being abused, oh, they brought it on themselves. I'm not saying that at all. But I could see, you know, you might have some big ahas, or things that if you are involved, things that you and your mate go round and round about all the time. Like these same arguments that you have all the time. And you might be able to like kind of just step out of it with Uranus. Kind of step out of it and step back and say, oh wow, isn't this silly? Just have this, God, this is so, or, you know, just have this clarity or this higher view of it. Not be so down in the trenches about it, you know. Have this higher, you know, this higher visual or this higher understanding about it, you know. Okay, I want to get into this Lilith in moving into Libra and with the node here. You know, I feel like, and my daughters are Libras, and I know a lot of Libras. And I spent some time with somebody, an older friend that from way back that was a Libra here recently. And one of the things about Libra energy, because they always want to be so nice, they want to try to be nice, is that they can get into victim mode. They can be very self-sacrificing. you know, and get into, you know, what I guess what would be considered old traditional roles, you know, where traditionally the man is subservient to the woman, and that's in America. That's in America. I mean, other countries that still is a thing. Even, you know, that's in America. It's supposedly not to be anymore. You know, supposedly we equal rights, but you know, there's still women playing this out. You know, there totally is, and they just self-sacrifice and self-sacrifice until there's nothing left to them, and they're totally subservient to the man, and whatever the man says, and that's what they're going to do. Well, it doesn't have to be man, woman, whatever the dominant partner is, that's what they're going to do. And Lilith is totally not that. You know, totally not going to lay down and be subservient to anybody. You know, she's going to stand her ground at all costs. So, let's take it from this side of the coin first, of the subservient person, that maybe you need to, they're going to have a way to stand up finally. You know what I've found in these people that are stuck in this kind of victim mode? They don't care about themselves, but if they have kids, that's usually the way to, like, break the illusion for them. You know, it's like, well, do you want your daughter to be like that? Do you want your daughter to grow up and be kissing some guy's ass all the time, you know, and not think for herself? And usually that's like, wow, yeah, it's fine for me, but they don't want that for their children. And because the children will play that out. Or the complete opposite. The daughter might say, screw that, I'll never kiss anybody's ass. But they may turn around and find a partner who's very subservient. And they're going to be the abusive is a strong word, but they're going to be the browbeater, or the one who always has to be in control all the time, you know, and be the boss or whatever, you know. So it could go either way, you know. So it's not good on either extreme, is what I'm saying, you know, because you don't want to be so nicey people pleaser all the time, Libra, you know, the negative side of Libra. But you also don't want to, you know, sometimes Lilith can be a little harsh, you know. That's a mild way of saying it. Yeah, but you don't want to come off and be really harsh either. The other thing that I saw this that I thought of is like groupies, you know. I've been around music my whole life and rock bands and stuff, and you know, there still are groupies, you know, and groupies though, they really love music. They love music. But I think they just feel like they can't do it themselves. They're kind of stuck in that mode. And Venus is, you know, Libra rule, Venus, that's musical too. And I was always like, woo, you know, come on, girls, snap out of it. You know, learn, if you want to be, you know, play an instrument, learn to play an instrument. You know, I was always kind of hard on them. I'm not to their face or anything, but in my mind I always thought, come on, step, why are you doing this, you know? But I mean, everybody's at their own place, and there are, even if you don't feel like you're musical, I mean, you could be whatever. You could book shows, you could sell merch or design merch, you know, there's all sorts of other fringe things surrounding music that you could get involved in, not just be a groupie, you know, even, you know, or you could learn to play an instrument yourself. There's nothing in this modern day that says women can't be musicians and play music. You don't have to be a groupie, you know. But groupies are for everything. There's sports groupies. I'm just using the example of music, but I mean that's another part of it too. You know, Lilith coming into Libra may kind of shake some of that off. You know, and it's great, you know, to be supportive of your man. You know, that's a great thing, but it should be mutually supportive. Yeah, you should be their biggest fan, but they should be your biggest fan too. They should encourage you to do what makes your heart sing, and what makes you happy, and that's because Libra ultimately is about balance, you know. So I'm not calling anybody out or putting anybody down. I'm talking about like years ago, back in the '80s, what I thought of groupies, but I've come a long way since then. Okay, sometimes I say things and people write in the comments, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm talking about stuff from 20, 30 years ago. You know, I've grown since then. But, yeah, so relationships need to come into balance here. And not to be so harsh like Lilith, and not to be too overly ass-kissing, I guess, like the downside of Libra. Okay, so new moon in Virgo, get organized, get your health together. I'm speeding it up because I'm running out of juice on this battery. It could cut off at any minute. All of a sudden it just went way down. But an eclipse, it's fire lasting. So what are you going to do on this day? Is this something that you want to do for the next 6 months? Is this what energy are you indoctrinating on this day? Is this something that you want in your life for the next 6 months or beyond, or not? You know, look at the details. Okay, real quick, I want to tell you guys, here's the past life reading thing that I've been doing with the chart. If you're into astrology, it's pretty interesting. It's a psychic reading based on your chart, kind of like how I do the psychic chart here, but more in depth, dealing with your life path. It's called the Soul's Journey reading, and lots of people have been ordering it and liking it. If you go on my main channel and you hit that about right up here, you can find out everything. Also, there's links to my other stations, the VV Creative Short Music and the Learning Songs for Kids, and then you go under the About section, and everything's here. Bam, 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 bam. Including the Tapestry of Life mandalas, where you can go to the order page of everything. I know I need a new website, but for now I just keep working on this because I don't have time to tackle that right now. But everything links here, including the readings, personal readings. Private reading is a half-hour consultation done via Skype or phone. I prefer the phone, actually. Or the Soul's Journey video reading, which is what I was talking about. I also offer several computer astrology reports that are very interesting. The Edgar Cayce, the Flowers and Gems. That might be a good one to get during the Virgo thing. Or even Medicine Wheel, which is all your animal totems. And then the ever-popular Year Ahead report, which gives all the transits with interpretations for the entire year. And at the bottom, of course, there's Make a Donation, which is always appreciated, because it makes it possible to do these free readings. But if you don't want to make a donation, buy something nice for yourself, like in my new Redbubble shop, where I have the Tapestry of Life Zodiac mandalas available. You know, you can get it on various merch, like t-shirts or bags and cups and stuff. And there's all sorts of other things. Affirmation art. This words and music thing that I was doing as etchings years ago, I've translated it over to some t-shirt designs, and you know, it's pretty cool. Take a minute to take a look around and buy something nice for yourself because you deserve it, or for a gift. Okay, so here it is. New moon eclipse. The full moon one is going to be coming up in a couple weeks. Look at the details. A lot about love and relationships with all this Libra and Venus Mars stuff, though. Take a look at your relationships. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, as Einstein says, and expecting a different result, then that is the definition of insanity. So take a look at things. Take a look at things, and be free of the illusions. You know, with the Neptune and stuff over here, the Pisces energy. Okay, everybody, remember, you are love and beauty incarnate. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, donating. I'll speak to you soon. Get some of them on camera. Tons of dragonflies flying around here. Hello, everybody. Hi.